down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
What's going on, Savvy Investors? This is your friend, Steve Van Kallenberg. Yep, the Savvy Landlord. And I'm excited. I'm doing this podcast live. I don't know if it's live because it's not live for you, but it's live for me because I'm in Golden, Missouri. Yep. At this summer camp called Kids Across America. It is a camp that I went to in 93, 94, 95 as a camp counselor for inner city youth around the country. Kids Across America, KAA. It's in conjunction with the Kanakuk brand of summer camps. And the week why I'm up here is to give back and serve for free to the next wave of kids coming in for 2017. So I wanted to push myself, and I'm going to do a podcast in my little cabin. And I did some practice before. If you listened to the episode earlier, I did the podcast in my room, but I didn't say nothing. And then this podcast, I've been thinking all week, man, my goal is to give out a podcast every day. I did the first two before I left, and then Wednesday I threw down the Grammarly, and then today I was like, man, I got to bring a real podcast to the table. And I was like, oh, what am I gonna give to my friends, to the savvy investors worldwide? How am I going to let them know? What can I do to contribute? Well, I'm up here with a bunch of men, super successful men from around the world, and I connected with a guy who's a president of an organization. I mean, this cat has done it. He runs an organization with a staff of 55 people, a $4 million organization, and every question, I'm not used to being around people, new people, and they're like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And I'm like, when people ask me that, I'm like, I'm in real estate. And, I don't want to say, well, I wrote some books and I'm on the radio show and nobody cares anyway. And I don't want to put people off and say, yeah, I'm a real estate baller. No, I'm just teasing. But, how do I, communicate to people and encourage them? So I'm in real estate and it leads to the thing. Well, this guy, he was genuine, and I got this question all the time. And then this last couple of weeks, I get this question all the time. Sophisticated people want to know how to get started in real estate, to powerful people, of pastors of churches, all the way down to a dude on a beach that's a surgeon, all the way to the mailman, to the property manager that I roll with, to even a mobile DJ guy asked me about a rental property the other day. And so I'm going to break this off. It's unorganized. I wrote this podcast quickly, but my goal is to give back and to get you started in the right direction towards real estate investing. And when you think about real estate investing, what is it, right? You're investing in real estate. It's pretty simple, but the goal is, why are you doing it? You're investing for something later. And so this is a slow play game. This is not get rich quick overnight. And you got to start as soon as possible, and you can be any age. But if you want to get in real estate, it seems like everybody and their aunt, the dentist down the street, wants to get into real estate. But here's some tried and tested ways that I communicate to people. This is the way that I've done it. And then almost 20 years of failure, wisdom, death on a toilet. This is how I would recommend. So this is my goal for you. My goal is to answer that question, hopefully with a purpose that you would get in moving in the right direction or get off. And I definitely think everyone can do real estate. There's more than enough out there, and it doesn't matter where you come from, what you look like, you can do it. And the only way you can do it is bang, bang, number one. I don't even number these, but you got to make a decision. That's the first thing you got to do. You got to say, I'm going to do this. I said, I'm going to run a marathon. I did it. I'm going to buy a rent house. You should do it. Then after you truly make that decision, because that decision is based on you. You could say you want to be, gonna be, shoulda be, gotta do. You got to make the decision. Now, that's the first, I would say the hard part. Okay. Then you are, all right, VC. Okay, Van Kallenberg, I get it. Now, okay, you make a decision. Come on, Savvy. Tell me how you do it. Well, the next thing I say when people interview me, hey, I want you to be my mentor, or how do I get started? The first question I say now is, how many true hours are you willing to commit to this decision that you made? Ooh, let me say it again. I won't start preaching to you. How many hours, true hours, are you willing to commit to the decision that you made? And we're talking about real estate, investing. And then you got to kind of have the why, how bad you want it. What's the why? Mine is I'm tired of being broke. Mine, I grew up poor. Mine, I have children. Mine, I want freedom. Mine, I want to do ministry. I want to stay up here in Golden, Missouri and serve. I want to open camps. I want to donate money to camps. I want to make a difference. So that's why. That's my why. That's what drives me. People ask me, why do you have over 100-something houses? Well, that's my why. It takes money. I'm sitting in a room right now. There's a table and chair. I didn't buy this table and chair. Someone donated money before me to buy this table and chair so I can rock this podcast. I want to be that next person. I want to be the one that buys the table and chair. What do you want to do? So the next thing is people assume, or the naysayers or the doubters, the Thomases or whatever who they are, they say, do I need money? And I'm like, hey, so quick, daddy, money's not even in the equation. So I'm going to break it down. You made the decision. The next thing you need to do is read. Okay. Now let's just go basic here. You're going to drive a car. They said you got to read the manual. Now that manual probably is online and you can read the manual, but you have to take a test to drive the car. Now you have to practice, right? So you got to read. And that's why I start everybody. Where do you read? What do you do? Well, you have to commit. You got to know what your timetable is. Okay. When do you want to buy your first house? That would be one basic goal. But the first thing I would do, baby steps, 10 minutes a day of reading something about real estate. Anything. What is a mortgage? Well, you already know what a mortgage is. Well, what's the Landlord Tenant Act in your area? Maybe take 10 minutes and Google that up and download it. That's your first step. Every day, you got to spend 10 minutes reading. The following week, 20 minutes a day. After that, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then get to the point to an hour a day. I mean, how do you want to be wealthy or do you want to be broke? Where are you today? You're making $100,000 a year working for some corporation. Where is that going? Where is that going to end? What scandal is going to happen? And the business is going to change. You know, a lot of people are all over direct marketing. I get it. It sounds great. Make money, do hard work, and then make money, right? But one policy change and you wiped out. Make your own. Do your own thing. But the only thing you need to be doing is reading every day. Jim Rohn says, miss a meal, but I don't miss my reading. The next thing that I would recommend, act like an investor. All right, let's get back to the reading. What books? Sorry, this is going to rabbit around a little bit. You got to be patient. Here's some books that got me juicy, and you should read this one. It's obvious. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. Okay, 36 million books sold, 20-year anniversary just rolled out. Buy the book. You can pick it up at a thrift store. You can get it on Amazon for $4 used. That is a primer, okay? It's not to how you do it. It's a primer to get your mind thinking about wealth, about liabilities and assets. Liabilities cost you money. Assets make you money. From this day forward, that's all you should be thinking about is buying assets, things that make you money. That's it. That's all you got to worry about. Real estate makes you money. Someone pays you to occupy that property, aka rent, you, aka landlord. Okay. It's just a philosophy. That's the first one. The second book that I read was pretty down and great for me was anything from Robert G. Allen. Okay. He has a book out called Nothing Down. Incredible. Okay. Creative financing. I think you need to put that in your toolbox. The book that really empowered me was Creating Wealth by Robert G. Allen. That book it outlines exactly how to become a millionaire in 10 years. Real simple. I mean, that's just too long for me, but that's how you can do it by buying one house, fixing it up, buying a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, selling it, paying off another one, buying one. You just follow that system. I just basically adapted that system and just ramped that mother up. It was real simple. Another Robert G. Allen book, Multiple Streams of Income. So I started out as a DJ. Real simple. I DJ'd, paid myself $100 a gig. Every 20 gigs, I started trying to buy houses on owner finance. Well, what I was doing was creating a business that threw off income. I knew that real estate, and like today, I may be large, but I'm having rough months where people are moving out, people are not paying, I got to evict them. If I was completely relying on that income, which I enjoy that income called cash flow, I might be stung right now. But I have 2 businesses that I built over time while doing real estate part-time. So I was working a day job, and that day job was a DJ. The other job that I had was a bridal show producer. Any income that I made outside of my family's needs, I would invest in real estate. And over time, that compounded. So those are the books that you need to read. Multiple streams of income. So do a side hustle, do a loan business. I have about 8 episodes on this, thesavvyradioshow.com, that talk about side hustle. Find something, teach lessons, make money on the side so you feel empowered, so you don't have a problem if you can't pay the rent one month. And then there's tons of other books that you could read. You should just start with those. But I'm going to throw out some other ones. Banker's Code by Anton. Great book. Anything and Everything from Robert Kiyosaki. Period. Those will get the ball rolling for you as soon as possible. Now, another thing you need to do from here on in, you're reading. Personal development. You should be doing it. If you're not, something's wrong. You need to start acting like a real estate investor. Well, what does that look like? Well, what do I do all day? Well, if I'm not here serving at this camp, I would be looking at houses. Houses would be on my mind. They'd be my focus. And that's what you need to be doing. You need to learn the language. You need to connect with other real estate investors. And you need to look at houses. Look at houses on your phone. Look at houses in person. Look at houses. Be a real estate investor. Even while I'm up here working in between breaks, I'll get emails, opportunities. That's what I call them. I open them up and I analyze deals. Someone sent me 5-house package. They all were booty, outrageous, over the price, retail prices. I just want to slap people. And there was one potential deal in there. And so I looked through those real quickly. I said, hey, when is this one going to be vacant? And I would like to look at it. Act like an investor. What do investors do, right? They read financial reports. They understand how finance works. They look at the market. Is it a bull? Is it a bear market? What stocks are trading? I don't trade stocks, but I follow stocks because it's fascinating to see money change hands so fast and so frequently. There's something I can learn from that. Definitely, I forgot. Someone brought this up. I was reading an article that Amazon took a loss for 6 years, that they knew their investors, because I have investors with me, their investors knew this was a slow play game. And now look at those investors now, millionaires, waiting 6 years for a return. Now, Amazon is the player. I mean, think about it. Walmart is scared. It's just fascinating. So think of it like that. This next 6 years or 6 months or 6 days is investment. You're not going to make money, but you're going to grow and you're going to learn. All right. So I came up with these other things that were, I don't know, interesting to me. I don't know if they're interesting to you. Hold on, man. My computer died out on me. Come on. All right. So here's some things that I came up with that I thought that were interesting. I go, create 100 questions as a real estate investor. The best way I think you can learn is by asking questions. Yep, you can ask me questions. I love questions. There is no retarded, goofy, weird, unacceptable question if it revolves around real estate. Like land. What's the difference between land? I don't know what your question is, but if you start writing down questions, even if you can't find the answers, even if you contact me and I don't get back with you, your mind will be working on those questions. How does a bank make money? That's one question. How do you collect your rent if they don't pay? How do you evict somebody? Write out questions and you'll start finding the answers. And I think that's the quickest way to learn. Now, another see 100 houses. If you really want me to coach you and teach you and go to the next level, it's time. It takes 100 houses to understand. A really good friend of mine said, man, the difference between you and a rookie or us, he said, is that you looked at over 1,000 houses. And I can make a decision on a property in 5 minutes, where someone else would take them maybe weeks, days, hours to make a decision. So you need to create a goals board and say, I'm going to go look at 100 houses for real, or at least analyze 100 houses. And here's another one. Build 100 contacts of real, not your mom, of real estate investor contacts or contractors or bankers. Create a set, go get an old school Rolodex. You millennials probably don't even know what the word Rolodex is. I just tell you how old I am, but still build. I know that I'm up here at this camp and I didn't build relationships. There's some baller people here that probably could have expanded my network, maybe even increased my private money reach, but I didn't keep up with the contacts. So if you start the game now, after this podcast, building 100 contacts, that could be contractors, carpet cleaners. I don't care. Get crazy with it. So let's review. Create 100 questions that you need answered. See 100 houses, real estate, real houses. Build 100 contacts of real, not people you know, someone new. If you connect with new people, they may have a house for sale. Well, how should you introduce yourself? That's a good question. Hi, I'm Steven. I'm a real estate investor and I buy property. Bang, bang, bang. That's an easy way to let people know. Now, it just depends on what environment. You know, I'm humbled to be here with these other men from around the country serving these kids. So I'm not like, hey, I'm trying to buy your house, because obviously I can. But if I was in Oklahoma City and we were at a dinner together and we bumped in on the way to the hallway, hey, what do you do? I said, hey, I'm a real estate investor. I help people get a return for their time and their money. That's how I do it. All right. So again, 100 questions of real estate investing, of real estate in general. What is a parcel of land? What does a lot mean? What is an abstract? If you go back maybe a couple of weeks, I go over about 10 basic terms that you need to master and you need to know. If you want to know even more stuff, you can pick up several of my books. I'm really big on answering those questions. You need to see 100 houses and you need to build contacts. Now, so this seems pretty easy to me. I love it when I get someone new in my life and they just go out and bang, bang and get it done. Why don't you? You don't have the desire to be wealthy. That's the problem. Now, after you get that ball rolling, you should get connected. You got to have accountability. You got to have friends. Now, you're going to be going into an arena that no one else in your network probably is involved in. Not everybody owns 100 cribs. Not everybody owns 2 cribs. Okay. The people that do own more than one crib, they're at this thing called a REIA, REIA, also known as a Real Estate Investment Association. Everywhere, anywhere, even in Enid, Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, you name it, there is a REIA group in your area. Google it up. Orlando REIA, Tampa REIA, New Jersey REIA, California, Sacramento REIA. Google it up, get involved, go to the meetings, start connecting. Rule again, you got to get involved. Real estate, if you're like a super nerd that just wants to stay behind a computer, can you do this? Absolutely. Do you want to expand your business and go to the next level quickly, like we all do? Then you got to get out there. You got to build relationships. Here's a very powerful website that you should dip on often. Now, I'm not on here because I don't know how people have time, but definitely if I was starting all over and I had to move to a new network, I would get on a website called biggerpockets.com, BIGGERPOCKETS.com. Or another one is MrLandlord.com. These two powerful websites are a network of people like you, and they're so amazing. They're willing to give information for free. My favorite word, free. But you got to contribute, okay? You can't just take. You got to be a giver. But you can learn so much. There's so many articles, so many podcasts. That's really, if my son walked through the door and said, "Daddy, what's the one thing that can get it done?" I said, "Son, just read everything on Bigger Pockets." Boom, you're done. Okay. Now, of course, the Savvy Radio Show, I have tons and tons of podcasts, 300 plus episodes covering technology, from how to borrow money from an individual to you name it. It's on there. You can find it. Okay. The next thing, a mentor. You got to get a mentor of sorts. Someone that has played the game now or before, and you may need to pay for that person. Maybe not. There are free mentors that are willing to help. You need to find one. If you can't find one, definitely find an accountability partner to assist you. The next thing is try to meet some realtors, build a relationship with the realtors that you can trust so you can eventually submit offers. You got to submit offers. That's how you buy property. Then the next thing that I would do is understand banks. We know this whole time we haven't even talked about money. It's like I used to teach basketball here at Kids Across America. And these kids would come from all over the place, all roughneck, all from the inner city. And they all hoopers. And they know the game. And they would get juicy on VC. That's what they call me here, VC. And I wouldn't let them touch the basketball. And this is how, because I weeded them all out. If they complained, they weren't going to be on the team because they weren't going to work hard. But if the kids that were hustling, running, doing the fundamentals, not even touching the basketball, I knew they would be successful and we would always win. So what you got to do before you get into the money and understanding all that, you need to understand banks, how they work. Where do the ballers, aka investors, where do they borrow their money? How do they borrow it? What does it take to borrow money? Yes, under there, we can go deeper, get a financial statement, understanding your credit, but that's not even an issue. I know a great friend of mine, Thomas Morgan, Chattanooga, never borrowed any bank money, 24 houses, very creative, the thing is why Thomas is so successful, he does it every day. Even like the other night, 8 o'clock at night, this homie's texting me, putting out bandit signs, calling people back, doing direct mail, whatever it takes. Just vigor inside him just motivates me. Just me telling you about him. What makes him so special? 30-something years old, killing it, 24-something units. He just wants to learn and grow, and he moves forward every day. After that, then you need to learn how to analyze a deal. Yep. You got to know if it's a deal. How much are you going to make? Did you factor in taxes and insurance? What is that? And then put in an offer. All right, folks, this was a pretty decent podcast. I hope if you do like it, let your boy know. I can go deeper into these subjects, and I just wanted to answer these questions that I keep getting, this should definitely, if you just commit to this for 30 days, 5 to 10 hours a week, just think about where your life will be. Education is the key. Knowledge is the new money. Ooh, quote me. Now, I stole the ET. Knowledge is the new money. But this is VC. I don't know if anybody ever said this. So the Savvy, we coming out with this one right here. Education is the key. Knowledge is the new money. Education is the key. Knowledge is the new money. Whatever you need to do, go do it. Go big, go hard, and be the very best you can be.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at SavvyRadioShow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.